here. I'm gonna scratch your ear for you. Oh yeah, that stuff. Is that what you wanted? Is that what you're going for with your own foot? Oh heck yeah, buddy. Yeah, that was me scratching your ear for you. Yeah. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Houston Problem. We've had a little hiatus here since last week. I had a busy last couple of days, but I'm here for you. I was gonna try to do a show earlier, and then my friend invited me out in his boat, and we motored over to Seattle and had dinner and enjoyed the sunset and motored back. And so a late night show it is. Yeah, how is everybody doing? Hope you're doing better than Doug Cifu. Virtue Capital and their market maker side are getting sued in a giant way. Not in the kind of the way that like, oh, slap on the wrist, don't do it again, but kind of in the we're going to make you a scapegoat for the world's problems kind of way. They, as a market maker, have other institutions that are their clients, and Doug Cifu promised them secrecy. So, you know, people aren't going to be able to find out what their trading strategies are, what stocks are going into. And he lied to them and made every subsidiary under Virtue, so their hedge funds and other institutions that they have, able to see exactly what their clients were doing so they could front run every single play they made. So they knew when to buy puts and when to buy calls. They knew which stocks they're going to be seeking out, so they would go and front load them, and they could make a fortune off of them. They knew what to short and when, because not just like they let the people know what was happening. Like there was one login that everyone at the company had, and 125 people at a time could log in and see exactly what was going on with every single one of their clients. So he's screwed. He's absolutely super duper 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 screwed. I don't know what the ultimate punishment will be, but I think it will be something big enough that they may lose licenses, access to markets, blah, 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 billions of dollars, yakety schmackety. So that's what's going on there. BBYQ had their hearing yesterday. The regular judge was ill, so they had a substitute judge come in. Substitute judge was basically like, this is confusing. I need to read this more, and I'll let you know what's going on Thursday. So tomorrow we find out if the judge is like, this is okay, we're doing this plan. Now, the plan is very weird. It's quite vague. And the way the rules are set up is that once the plan is approved, they can then make changes to the plan that don't have to be voted on. So there's a lot of hypotheses going on, where people are saying it's going to get approved, amended in a huge way, backdated to when it can go live, and then crazy stuff are going to happen. All I know is that some accounts that are related to GameStop and Ryan Cohen and stuff were doing a lot of tweets that had to do things with like baby, oh baby, things like that were very weird yesterday. And the language in the plan is just weird. I don't know how to describe it other than just being it's just weird. And so very likely that the plan gets approved tomorrow. Changes get made. Those changes then reveal who was using 6th Street as a proxy to do things like the dip facility and whatnot. And then, you know, hopefully craziness. As a result of yesterday's hearing, every brokerage except Fidelity, it appears, put BBYQ in the expert market. And then apparently around 9 p.m., BBYQ went into the expert market on Fidelity. So you may not be able to buy it anymore. I'm certainly going to try. I threw some money into Fidelity. It'll take a day or two for it to clear, so who knows if I'll be able to buy anything. But I would not. I'll gamble and pick up some if it's single digits by then. but may not be, depending on what happens tomorrow. So, I don't know. Right, monkey? Yeah, and then Finger's still holding high. If you guys pay attention to Finger, I know Aaron Salentine here he loves fingering. He loves finger blasting. It's touched close to $8 yesterday. It's sitting around like $7.50. If the options close on Friday at a price where it is now, gamma for Monday, because this is an option that only triggers once a month. Previously, when they had rises, it wasn't quite the options week. It would happen like the week before options would trigger, then they hammer it right back down for that Friday. So they still have, a trading day tomorrow and on Friday to hammer it down like they have previously. But now we're actually in the options week where these options can expire in the money. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. Are they going to be able to hammer it down before Friday? Or is it going to trigger on Friday and make things weird for Monday and Tuesday? So keep your eye on that. And Monkey, anything to add? Nope, just that you're sleeping, dog? Okay, we got that settled. And boom! Drink some water. Okay. Off. Daytime off. Everything's off. Yes. All right. So, well, in your minds, what are you thinking about? It's been a few days. Things have happened. We had a huge earthquake in Morocco last Friday when we were doing our show. Then catastrophic rain and flooding has wiped several communities in Libya off the map. We're looking at tens of thousands of dead all across North Africa from these two tragedies. So I'm currently looking for a good charity that's probably North African based, that's helping with these tragedies. We'll probably have 30,000 dead or more in these two places, and like in Turkey, like in other tragedies we focus on, like they need help when they get it. So this month's Charity Tuesday is going to go towards helping folks in North Africa. I'll find a good charity. We got a couple weeks until Charity Tuesday. Hopefully we'll have more Blue Sky codes that people can send over, and we can raffle them off and start getting everybody into there. Yeah, so keep that in mind. If you guys hear of a good charity, throw it my way. I'll check and see if they're available on YouTube. I'm trying for October, pending any other horrible calamities and natural disasters that happen. October Charity Tuesday will likely be for a friend's legal defense fund, or a friend. It's a legal charity that does free work for poor people. That's what I should say. But they're not on YouTube yet. So I told them, hey, apply on YouTube. We can do a charity show for you, do good work. So we'll see if they get that out of the way. Yeah. And the monkey said nothing to add. I got nothing to add. The fat cat was in here a second ago. He just vanished. So anyway, Kelly Reed, Ken Griffin, multi-billion-dollar hedge fund manager, pays and lawyers up right now because of Dumb Money, the movie. What an amazing journey this ride has been so far. I can't wait for part 2 of MOS. Yeah, he apparently is losing his mind over the fact this movie's coming out and how it paints him as the dumb money. Like, take a sociopath and you insult them publicly to like billions of people around the world. Amazing things can happen. That's kind of what's happening in Elon land. I'm going to talk about Elon too much for last couple of shows, but Elon apparently is upset that people are calling him anti-Semite. And then as a result of him being called anti-Semite, he's decided to sue the Jews for calling him anti-Semite. So that's, top-notch behavior there. The FAA report came out about the Starship launch. There were 63 critical problems with the launch that Elon must fix and prove he fixed before he's ever allowed to launch again. Like, a lot of stuff. Which makes you think that they're going to go through his launch pad and his stupid little metal cool plate without a flame diverter. And they may make him rip it all up and build it all again. And put in a flame diverter. Or just be like, you can't launch this from Boca Chica, you do it from somewhere else. he killed too many like endangered birds and started wildfires and sent shrapnel sent everywhere and covered an entire town in dust 10 miles away and whatever. And what else is happening with him on his front? He was revealed that as Ukraine was launching submersible drones to go attack the Russian fleet, who were bombing civilians with their rockets and guns, Elon saw them launch this, turned off Starlink so they would lose their navigation, and then they washed up on shore harmless. So basically, as a military contractor for the United States government, U.S. government's paying him like hundreds of millions of dollars a year for the system. He's deciding arbitrarily where this system can and cannot be used, which is not how a government contract works. Especially if you're doing something that violates the national interest and why we're paying for this stuff. It's not like Boeing or Lockheed Martin or something. Like, the U.S. government buys a bunch of F-18s from Boeing, and then Boeing's like, you can use these things everywhere except the front line. That's not how it works, Boeing. You can't do that. So, I said it before. I'll say it again. Elon should have his security clearance pulled and his company's nationalized. Just take him. Just take him from him. He can't be trusted. So, be gone. So anyway, there's my Elon hate for the day. Got a super chat. Jose Rosario Houston. What is that blue box next to monkey butt? Looks like a TARDIS. That is some cheapo Tupperware I use when I'm mining gemstones. So I have several boxes of those things, and when I need to, I stick gems into them, and I keep them separated. And if I've got some concentrates from doing gold, I can dump it all into one of those things. So yeah, that's just some like Glad brand cheapo Tupperware stuff. Ludicrous speed. E-Trade wouldn't let me buy more BBYQ today. Buy a button getting turned off on us again. Tomorrow should be interesting. Yeah, it appears that the brokerages are pushing this into the expert market that was created in 2021 for stocks they don't want the public to be able to have access to. So today, people could still trade on Fidelity. It appears that tonight they turned that off. Just as I wrote my show description, you can still buy it on Fidelity. That's when I got news that Fidelity isn't letting people buy anymore. So we will see what happens with that. Yeah, expert market's stupid. Everyone should be able to buy whatever they want, whenever they want. Experts are dumb. Just let people do their thing. Let people make their mistakes if they want to. Kelly Reed also asks, Houston, happy birthday, Houston. Wondering what you're seeing, or what your all-seeing crystal ball predicts the next 6 months. Okay. Hi, fat cat. Here's what I predict. Want to come up here? Do some cattail karaoke? I just want to rub my legs. Weird things will happen with BBYQ. Which way it goes, I can't say. Weird things. Come on, Fatso. You can do it. There you go. Oh, yeah. Cattail karaoke. So as I sing into the cattail, I also bet that we will have some significant news on commercial real estate front, and that commercial real estate front is going to be bad. Just bad all around. I'm talking like malls closing, strip malls being foreclosed, office buildings going empty and being foreclosed. And they're going to try their best to slow that down as best they can. But they won't necessarily be able to do that enough. We'll also start to see more and more short-term rentals entering the long-term rental market as people desperately try to figure out a way to pay the mortgage on their spec houses they bought, especially in vacation areas. And what they're going to discover is that in a lot of these vacation areas, the long-term rentals won't fly because they built all these houses that only are occupied from May to September. So if you bought a spec house and you're like, oh, from May to September, I can rent this thing and make $10,000 a month for those, 5 months. Cool. You won't be able to find someone who can rent it for $3,000 or $4,000 a month on a 1-year lease. You just won't find that. And then all these homes are going to enter the short-term rental market, and short-term rental prices will go as a result. Right, little fat cat? Yeah. So we'll start to see some weirdness happen in the housing market. We'll see consumer price index. We'll see inflation still going up, especially if auto workers strike this week. So it sounds like the auto workers are going to like do stage strikes. So they're going to have a few factories close and then some more and some more. As time goes on, more and more will close. I expect new car prices to go absolutely bonkers again, which will affect, again, inflation. Car companies apparently have about 50 days supply of vehicles before they run out, which is a lot more than usual. Usually it could be around 30 days supply. So if the auto workers strike, car prices go through the roof. When car prices go through the roof, then used cars go through the roof again, which Carvana will be like, woo, let's do it. Let's do this all over again, just like COVID and supply chain problems. But the good thing is, the minute the strike is over, if a strike takes a long time and eats through that inventory they have, there will be I want to say gluttony, celebration. We'll have a boatload of parts from suppliers ready to go, so there'll be no shortage of material when they start up again. So that should be a handy dandy, right? Little fat boy. Yes, you little turd. So got that going, and what other predictions I got? I know that a bunch of folks in the criminal conspiracy case in, I think, Florida are asking the courts to separate their trials. So there's like 19 defendants, and it's a criminal conspiracy case. It's RICO, right? And so if they're going to try all 19 of them at the same time, because the whole point of RICO is whatever this guy says in this criminal conspiracy can convict this guy because he's part of the same conspiracy. That's why you do RICO. And they're trying to waive their right to a speedy trial in order to separate themselves into 19 different trials. Now, I don't think it's going to get granted. I think the courts can go, it's a conspiracy case. You guys are all part of the same conspiracy. You're all being tried as a group. That's the way I think it's going to go. So Crystal Ball says that. But you're dealing with a former president, and you just don't know where that's going to go, just based on that. What else, little cat? What else? I don't know. I'm thinking October. I might see if I can take a trip to Hawaii. Tickets round trip are $250 right now from Seattle to Hilo. I might have to go visit some friends. Monkey, you might have to go stay with Shawnee for a couple of days. I'm sorry, buddy. But, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Right, fat cat? You're such a fatty. You are. You're just a big old tub. You got a healthy, shiny coat for a big fat boy. That's what you got. Oh, you're such a nice guy. He's just the nicest guy in the world. Okay. Jason Blackwell Hasten. I asked the librarian if she had a book about Pavlov's dog and Schrodinger's cat. She said it rang a bell, but she wasn't sure if it was on the shelf or not. Well, I've got a cat right here, and he's drooling on me. So we know that both Pavlov's cat and Schrodinger's dog work. Okay. Chris Collins is here. Woo! Hey, from the Sacred Valley up in the mountains in Peru. You guys notice that so, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, these Peruvian scientists claimed that they unearthed alien mummies, and it was found to be a giant hoax and fraud and fake. And so then the same scientists now brought their props they made to Mexico, and the Mexican Senate then had these hearings on UFOs and did this whole thing with the Peruvian mummies. Now everyone's all like freaking out again. Dude, they're the fakest, stupidest things in the entire world. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, there's a Peru connection for the day. Blank says, commercial real estate is first, residential second, auto loans third. Thoughts? That sounds about right. Auto loans might start kicking in more starting this month as student loans payments start getting paid. So, I mean, granted, like 65% of people say that they're just not going to pay their student loans. So they're going to be like, yeah, fuck you. I'm out of here. But the average student loan payment's over $500. The average car payment's like $700. One of those is going to have to give in this economy, especially with the price of everything else going up. And, homes no longer being like a third or less of your income. Now they're like 60% of your income. Something's got to give. And my guess is it's either going to be student loans or cars that people don't pay. Like you can't get your home repossessed if you don't pay your student loans. And you can't get your car repossessed if you don't pay your student loans. And they're not going to like take your degree or the information out of your head. So my guess is student loans will be the first thing to get axed in people's budgets. And they need a car to get to work, so they'll probably pay for the car if they can. But my guess is we'll see some just brutal data come out from people not paying their student loans coming up. Also, Blank says, favorite show of the week or whenever it's on. We love you, Houston. Love you too. Person with no name. Star Warrior. You see Congress ask Gary Gensler about MMTLP, and they have a meeting about tomorrow. Yes. I find it interesting that, so it was Crapo, right, who did the main question asking. He's the senator from Idaho. Is that where Crapo's from? Anyway, I would have done a name change before I ever ran for Senate if my name was Crapo. But regardless, he asked him about, hey, are you doing an investigation into MMTLP and the halt? And Gary Gensler was like, that's not our realm. That's FINRA to the halt. And then he's like, but you're in charge of FINRA. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, we're in charge of FINRA, but like FINRA has their own reasons for doing things. He's like, well, if you're in charge of FINRA, who investigates FINRA? And he's like, well, if there's an investigation of FINRA, we do like once a year. We have a group that kind of like looks at them. And he's like, no, but like when there's a specific incident at FINRA, are you looking into it? He's like, oh, I can't comment if we're investigating anything or not. And he's like, okay, you can't comment if you're investigating anything or not. But if there was an investigation, this would be something you would investigate? He's like, oh, I really can't comment on this. So whether there's an investigation or not, there might be one starting because Congress is starting to like push it on them, which I find is interesting. Like they can't comment if there's an investigation. Like can't say if there's an investigation or not, but they can announce when they're investigating an insider at a company. Like we're doing an investigation as insider at this company. So which is it, dude? Can you say if there's an investigation or not? Because obviously you send out these notices when you investigate CEOs and other people who are insiders at companies. Why can't you say if you're investigating FINRA for abusing their congressional authority, right? And also, since FINRA was created by Congress, you'd think that Congress could have some say on how FINRA operates as well. But they fall under the executive branch, so that's weird stuff there. But, well, do what you do. Kelly Reed, Houston. Do you think there is no universe where this ends well? Debt, inflation, banks failing, people can't afford mortgages, etc. Financial reset. I guess the question is, can our current system bounce back from when things aren't doing well and tweak it enough to make sure it doesn't happen again for a while? Or when this all gives out, when the floor gives way, it's so bad that we got to come up with something else. Now, there's a couple problems with trying to come up with something else. Is one, people fear change. It's hard to get them to do something new and different. So they're going to stick with the familiar because they don't know the unknown. But if it's bad enough, they may jump ship to like the first strong voice that tells them something new, which is usually how like you get fascist or communist leadership. People go to the extremes because those are where the loud, confident voices are. So I guess you just don't want things to get so bad that people do that, right? You'd hope that when the bottom falls out, there's enough juice left to keep it from like hitting the spikes in the trap door floor and eventually push everything up to where it should be. And from there, in the postmortem, we go, what went wrong? What can we change differently? And we plug these loopholes and we make it really, 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 really criminally bad to be someone like Doug Cifu. Doug Cifu should be going to prison for stealing his customer data after promising to keep it private and telling the SEC, I'm keeping it private. I'm not staring at their data, and then stealing their data and then using it to basically make yourself a bunch of money and lose your customers' money. That's the type of stuff that should send you to prison and not get you an SEC little lawsuit slap on the wrist. The SEC needs law enforcement power. They need to be able to go after these dudes and throw their asses in prison. That's another thing should be on the list of the multiple things for the Investor Bill of Rights. The SEC needs a law enforcement power. They should be able to just waltz into one of these market makers and be like, put that guy in cuffs, put that guy in cuffs, put that lady in cuffs, haul their ass to downtown. They're being charged for market manipulation, for spoofing, for naked short selling, whatever. And all the rest of you assholes who are still here, you're going to be dealing with a giant lawsuit and huge fines that may detriment this entire company's existence. That should be the type of punishment that happens at these companies. So that people are so scared to break the rules. They don't be a bunch of like bros drinking martinis at their long lunches and figure out ways they can cheat the system because all they're going to do is fine us like 40 cents. And then they go ahead and do whatever they want. There needs to be real ramifications where these dudes go to fuck me in the ass federal prison where there's no cakewalk. So that they never do it again or are too scared to even try. That's how the market should operate. And if we had a market like that right now, I guarantee you the economy would be plugging along just fine without having all this weird, over margin, everyone's over leveraged crap going on. Things would be a lot better. Let's digress. Okay. Chris Collins, sorry, almost made the show. Got to play tour guide Machu Picchu. Have fun. Make Puttanesca great again. Well, sorry to miss you. Catch you on the recorded version. Ludicrous Speed, did you see the clip? Gensler getting grilled on M2P. Oh, just talked about that, so we're cool. Lost Wave, check the audio. I did check the audio. My mic is on. No one's told me my mic is off for the last 30 minutes, so we're okay. Talk baby to me. Bojangles, Houston, you stallion. Thoughts on the latest BBBYQ developments? I think I talked about them enough. Again, we are in speculation zone. See how that dog's staring at me? That's a dog who wants to go under a blanket. Sorry, I'm gonna have to blanket this dog. You want a blanket? You wish you had opposable thumbs? Do you? How about this? Shaboink. 'Tis the season. Summer's over, man. She didn't want blankets for the last several months. Summer's over. Now she's in her cocoon, and she will remain there until spring, right? Right, little cat? Oh, you're just a little dude. Cats are just little guys. They're just like, you just have a little guy that lives with you. You're just a little dude, right? Yes, you are. You're just a sweet little fat boy. Yeah. You're my little diabetic asthmatic. Okay. What were we asking? But yeah, latest thoughts and developments. So Cat sees now that it looks really comfy over there. He's gonna go try and snuggle up while the dog doesn't realize who's snuggling him. There's a butthole. Look at that butthole. Yeah, it's speculation. There's some grounding in reality of speculation and why people would have the hopium for the speculation. It can still go totally haywire, and if you are invested in BBYQ, you could lose everything. I'm putting that out there right now. As I said from the get-go, the money I put in is either going to be a giant win, where I'm going to go, woohoo, speculation was right, or a giant loss, where I go, well, I've got a tax write-off for next year. That is it. Do not invest anything more than you can afford. That's always the rule. Sorry, anything more than you can afford to lose. That's always the rule. You are degenerate gamblers if you are betting on Bed Bath & Beyond. That being said, the hopium side is the side that I want to succeed. I want to make money. I don't want to lose money on this, right? So, here's how I picture the weirdness happening, right? This is ideal world. I have nothing concrete on any of this. There's a couple of things we know about. All right. You've got players like Ryan Cohen, Carl Icahn, Pulte, etc. These dudes got together and they're like, all right, look, we hate these little short sellers. They're a bunch of little fuckers. We hate them. We all want them to just curl up and die or go out of business, whatever. Just screw these guys. All right, what can we do to really just stick it to them? How about we let them think they shorted a company into the ground, and then we bring it from the ashes and make it a behemoth, right? And so they looked around and said, okay, we tried the legit way of rescuing Bed Bath & Beyond before it ever had to declare bankruptcy. But the powers that be, well, they kind of fucked us on that one. So Ryan Cohn pulls out. He makes a gajillion dollars off of it. I think it was like $75 million profit or more. That's what he made off of selling everything last year. But he's still pissed off. And he still wants baby, right? He still wants bye-bye baby. So he talks to these other billionaires. He's like, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to pull some cash. We're going to, these guys are going to go bankrupt. And when they do, we're going to buy up all of their bonds. We're going to buy up a bunch of their unsecured bonds. We're going to buy up all of their secured bonds. And we're going to get warrants and stocks and you name it. So they buy a bunch of this stuff. But they do so via a proxy. So they form, a shell corporation, the 3 of them, 4 of them, however many involved in this. And that shell corporation then through 6th Street does the DIP facility, which is the loaning facility to get the company through bankruptcy. And it's a shell company that owns Dream on Me. So remember that. That's the baby company that bought baby. And they've got like giant warehouses. People driven past the warehouses. These things are super full for how many stores that they supposedly have and their current online presence. So it's impressive. Their goal is to get the shorts to think that they're going to win, right? You make this really confusing, convoluted plan that gets released to court that can probably get through, even though it's weird. Maybe it's because changes required on it. So the shorts are like, hey, they're going to nuke every single solitary share its existence. They're going to vaporize all this unsecured debt holders. All the secured debt holders are going to get fucking dime out of like the $1 billion they invest in secured debt. This company is toast, even though they're still in Chapter 11 and not Chapter 7. Plan gets approved. Plan then gets amended, and that amended reveals, ta-da! Here are the financiers behind the DIP facility and all securitized bonds and a whole bunch of the unsecured bonds. And what they want in return for their loans is the corporate shell. They can now use basically as a SPAC to get Teddy and others into the NASDAQ. And ta-da! We're playing with fire now. So at this point, at this very moment, if Bed Bath & Beyond Q is on the expert market, meaning you and me, we're losers, we can't participate anymore, we can hold what we have, we can sell if we want to, which why would you want to sell when it's at 19 cents or whatever? Only the true can play, which means institutions, brokers, funds, accredited investors. Accredited investors are people that have more than $1 million and apply for accredited status. They're the ones that can participate in the expert market. So the little guys who are short on Bed Bath & Beyond, they now cannot close their positions. Like they're short, but they can't go on the market and close. So little guys are going to get vaporized if this thing does well. The big boys can still get in and close, but no one's selling, right? Because why would you sell? You want more because it's a cheap price, but you can't buy them. So you're going to hold on to what you got, waiting to see what kind of news is happening. And if you're like me, you didn't invest anything more than you're willing to lose. So if you lose it, well, that's what I played, and that's where I'll be. So they're not going to have anything they can buy, nothing they can buy from anyone. So if announcement comes where it's like, hey, here are the financiers, the DIP facility, and what they want is they want what's left of Bed Bath & Beyond, because they're not going to slap on several companies into the one mishmash and bring it out from the fire as this new like multi-billion-dollar corporation with no debt and several billionaires running it. That's going to blow people's minds. There's another side that's like they'll merge it into GameStop and they'll do like a 10-for-1 trade. I have no idea if that stuff's going to happen, or it might become an umbrella corporation that then is GameStop as a subsidiary. Those things happen too. But my guess is that the Ryan Cohen Ventures side wants to create, by taking existing companies and slapping them together under the Ryan Cohen Ventures umbrella, to create something that can do battle with online retailers like Amazon. So Amazon is this big company that has all sorts of departments in it. Ryan Cohen Ventures will be a big company with a whole bunch of companies in it, specialized companies that kind of share an infrastructure and a logistics network, and then can do battle with someone like that from there on. Right, fat boy? You coming back? Yeah? Oh, you're just a lover, man. You're just a lover. Come on up. Come back. Or go see the dog. One or the other. Pick one. Me or the dog. Me or the dog. Come on. Oh, it's going to be me. Yay. More Cattail Karaoke coming to you live on this Wednesday night. Okay, so. Says 54, a colossal lithium cache estimates that the McDermott caldera, a volcanic crater in the Nevada-Oregon border, harbors a colossal 20 to 40 million metric tons of lithium, dwarfs Bolivia's estimated cache. Well, there, let's go look where that is. Shall we? Right, you little fat cat? You want to look where it is? Let's go to the Oregon McDermott. The McDermott caldera, I believe, is the caldera that created Virgin Valley, which is where you find black opals in the U.S. Oh, damn you. You always, whenever I do a restart, the Google Earth wants to, like, be the largest thing in the world and not get over to the screen. There we go. Boom. Boom. There we go. McDermott. Oh, McDermott. I had an Irish roommate named Rossa Hurley. And Rossa, there's McDermott. Rossa, when he get drunk, he starts speaking Gaelic gibberish. And he thought the word McDermott was the funniest word in the entire world. So he'd be like, McDermott. Oh, McDermott. Anyway, here's McDermott. Virgin Valley, where we find Virgin Valley opals, are Paradise Valley, Denio. Virgin Valley's here. That's Virgin Valley there. So as the volcanoes that happened up in this area are the ones that rained down ash and made the opals through Virgin Valley over yonder. Really cool hot spring up against this mountain range here. There's a hot spring that goes down here. This is all hot spring. It's a hot river. And so it's really hot up here, and it gets a little deeper and a little bit cooler. Like by cooler, I mean it's like 104 degrees in this area. One winter I was down here. I've been out camping and looking for stuff. It's like March, and I was disgusting. I was like, I need to bathe. The hot spring. So I went out to like bathe in the hot spring. And two young women on horses were like, what's going on? The horse backed over here and saw my naked ass in the hot spring and ran away. So there I am creating public indecency crimes out in the middle of nowhere in Nevada. Anyway, McDermott. So McDermott's over yonder. McDermott volcano caldera. I'm not sure which one the caldera is. Might be this. So let's see if we can McDermott volcano. I guess the Caldera Rock Shop. That doesn't help at all. But so I guess it's in this area. Be my guess. Somewhere in there is a bunch of lithium. So cool. Yeah, I read there's like inside a volcano is a bunch of lithium, but like these volcanoes out here haven't erupted in about 30 million years. So it's not like they're active volcanoes. You can see some pieces of volcanic action. If you go by some of the mountains, you're like, oh, there's some basalt and stuff like that. But everything out here is like 20, 30 million years since it erupted. So, cool. So yeah, Tom McDermott would probably absolutely love that. And McDermott Rodeo will be lit. McDermott Church, there you go. Cat Tail Karaoke. Jose Rosario, BBYQ becomes Teddy. What would the value be, or would we squeeze as BBYQ? 105,000 shareholder. Nice job. Who was buying today? I was locked out by TDA. My guess is that they shorted, and they shorted to really like. There are people. I think the lowest price BBYQ got was back in May when they were about to be delisted from the NASDAQ for being on the pink sheets. And I think I got down to like 4.5 cents. So that means people probably shorted all the way down to 4.5 cents. I think it opened around 7 cents that day. Which means people right now who've shorted are underwater at the moment because they shorted at 7 cents and the stock price has been at 20 something cents for the past several months. So they've been underwater that whole time. They're probably hoping they'll drop lower, but they may not actually be able to do anything about it because they won't find shares they can buy because of the expert market, or they won't have access because they're too small time to close out their shares. They might be screwed when things go pew, if they go pew, right? So I would think it now has squeeze potential if they emerge with a restructuring plan intact that keeps equity in shareholders' hands. So if it becomes the SPAC to launch an IPO of another company or to continue on as baby via Dream on Me, so whatever weird things could be happening in the background, I cannot attest to anything specific because I don't know the specifics. They've done a good job kind of being like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, wink, wink for the past several months without being direct. So all we have is the wink, wink, nudge, nudge to get excited about. A fair price, $10-15, right? You got a company led by some very competent billionaires who know how to sell stuff. Boom. With your 700 million shares, $10-12 a share, you're at $7 billion, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's happy, right? But if the price spikes to that, with the amount of shorting that's happened since the price has been below $10, you're going to see a lot of buying that could happen. There could be a swap out. Like, hey, we're going to swap the shares. If you've got shares of Bed Bath & Beyond, you're now going to get a share in Teddy or whatever the new company is. That could force close of positions over a very short period of time, which could cause a squeeze as well. So, yeah, there's a squeeze potential there. And there's a type of squeeze potential where you have your shares, you sell them at a high price, and then you buy back in again because you think the company's going to kick ass after that. So you can get a lot of people reinvesting their wealth into even more shares in the company after a squeeze. But yeah, I think if the price gets into the dollars a share, you're going to be, a lot of folks are going to be facing margin calls and liquidations at that point, especially small time hedge funds, small time investors, family funds. The price of the stock gets into several dollars or tens of dollars, and they are shorting a whole bunch at $1.50 on down to 4 cents, 4.5 cents. They're going to be underwater an appreciable amount on that particular play, and they're going to have to come up with a lot of liquidity, or they're going to have to sell a bunch of stuff and make cash. So, yeah, I think the squeeze potential is there, Jose. But man, 105,000 shares. Man, I don't have that many. I have 15,000. So, Houston's late to his own party. Yeah, ETX, I'm sorry. Says before, BBYQ still kicking. People are now rage buying. This baby cannot be aborted. Lee Meadows, eToro BBYQ was closed trading today. Couldn't do anything. Yep, happened to everybody. Lost waves. He's coding the stream application. Hold on. 223E, are you gay? Who's that? Who are you asking, man? The question is, do you want them to be? I guess is the question. Whoever you're asking. Me personally, no. But I wish I was. It'd be so easy to get laid. Men are easy. To my friend Ricardo, every single time I see him, like, I wish I were gay because you're the best dude I know. And he's like, oh, thank you so much. All right. Watched on Money today, an AMC awesome movie. My opinion, Ken Griffin is pissed. I would be too if I were Ken Griffin, but then, it's your own making, man. Like, they didn't make you a pariah. You made yourself a pariah. Right? It was your own actions that did it, Ken. It was you. You did it. Don't kill the messenger. Bex Houston, happy birthday. Are the events of this week likely to lead to the explosion of certain institutions' stocks? I'm tired of being poor. Well, I mean, we've been waiting long enough. Eventually it's got to happen, right? The market always corrects itself. It does. Every 10 to 15 years, shit happens. And everyone goes, we couldn't see this coming. There's enough bad stuff going on that you cannot keep this facade of like, everything's fine for too much longer. It's the bill comes due. So, yeah. Scott Pollan, virtue's so fucked. Yes. Yes, they are. See, my girlfriend died a few weeks ago, cancer. Aw. We both watch you all the time, especially near the end. She's the one who showed me your channel, so I'm still going to be here. She even got stickers from you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I mean, I've been in the same boat. This past June was the 13th anniversary of losing my fiance. It was not seen, like we didn't see it coming because it was a drunk driver, but the loss hits, dude, and my heart goes out to you, and deepest condolences. And I'm bummed. I'm bummed for you. I'm bummed for her, and I hope that you know, I don't know. I don't know how to navigate loss. I mean, I have, but it's not been like a set path. I would say, you know, everyone has their own path they take through loss and mourning and tragedy like that. Be, to the best of your ability, be the person they know and love. That's what I have to say. So that's the best way you can honor them. Cool. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but that's how I navigate it. All right? Okay. Get reset, get happier again. Go on the rest of the chat. 23E, Houston, are you part of the LGBT community? No, I'm not. But I try to be an ally when I can. Everyone has someone who's LGBT in their life, whether they know it or not. And, you know, they're human beings living their life, doing their thing. And you just got to respect that they are who they are despite all the challenges that they face in society. Who, for some reason, a lot of folks in society want to see them dead, banned, hiding in the closet, whatever. And there's a reason why cities seem to accumulate people from the LGBT community, because it's literally a safe space. Their small towns aren't necessarily safe for them, so they flock to where others like them are and find that safety and community and in numbers. And, you know, more power to them. That's why I get fancy art districts at this point. Andrew Stewart, Houston's Gary's response on MMTLP to the banking committee was a steaming pile. I think Gary should have been more ready with an answer they wanted to hear. I think, like, sorry, I got like an eyelash in my eye that's just stabbing me right now. Ow. Okay. If he knew they were going to ask him MTLP question, he and his underlings should have been like, okay, this is what we're going to say. We're going to be launched. We have an investigation going right now. And you're going to tell them, yes, we're looking into it. And that's all you need to say. And as you say, yes, we're looking into it, you say, I can't give you any more details to an ongoing investigation. That's it. Then Crapo, the bank committee, would have been like, cool, good, we hope you were. Right? Even if this investigation comes up with nothing because it's a nothing investigation that they're doing, they're just like sweeping under the rug, at least he can go to the bank committee and say, like, yes, we are doing our due diligence and making sure FINRA behaves accordingly. That's what he should have said. And the fact that he was like, I can neither confirm nor deny, that's that Glomar crap the CIA uses, and that never instills confidence in anyone. Your job is to overlook the markets and FINRA. FINRA is under your umbrella. FINRA in court said, hey, if we do something wrong, the SEC has to do something about it. They're our dad, right? You, courts, can't do anything. Only the SEC can. So if the SEC is like, I don't know, fuck, then court's going to be the only way. This helps Rosa, right? Rosa can now take this deposition of Gary Gensler to the court, if you're watching Rosa, to the court and say, hey, court, Gary Gensler isn't doing his job as the head of the SEC to make sure FINRA is doing their job. So maybe the courts have to step in and help in this situation and make a decision for us. If the checks and balances aren't checking and balances, you need to have like stepdad come in here and slap somebody around, right? So that's what the court should have to do. So I think Gary Gensler made a mistake in not saying there's an investigation going on. He just seemed to say, yeah, we're looking into it. That's all I had to say. And if they ask press further, be like, we can't talk about investigation. That would put the banking at ease, make us feel a lot better about SEC and Gary Gensler, and make FINRA go, what? So they should be going, what? A lot. Okay. Scott Paul and Jimmy Insiders buying hella shares. It's cheap right now. $17 discount. If you have the capital, get it. Ideas Matter 7707. Hey, Houston. Anna's Trades is reporting the Congressional Finance Committee is meeting on MMTLP tomorrow. What do you think will happen for us MMTLP holders? Should I start loading up on MMAT? I cannot comment on the last one because they won't let me. Like I just said before, I would hope that at this hearing tomorrow by MMTLP, Gary Gensler comes in with something even just slightly more specific, or someone in the SEC, whoever is going to be at this thing, just slightly more specific about what should be done about MMTLP. Because no matter how you look at it, it's a cluster, right? It's a giant, giant cluster. We know there's naked shorting. We know. Because FINRA's own thresholds list tells us that there's been naked shorting in undeliverables for weeks on end leading up to that, right? So we know that they're selling shares they don't have. That tells us naked shorting is going on. And we know it wasn't closed because while the price was going up, it was still going on the thresholds list, meaning they're still selling shares they don't have. So they were not closing positions on the lead up when the price is going up to $12. They weren't doing that. They were just shorting more. And as they short at $12, it goes back down to what it bounced off of, 190 or whatever. They made a boatload in that of that $10 difference, that $10 delta. So and they don't have to close. Like, yeah, we don't have to close and do shit. They halt the trading. We'll never have to close this thing again. Therefore, we get our tax. We don't have to pay the taxes on it. La 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 la. Throw confetti. Blah. That to me just screams conspiracy. Because why is it the shorts should win on this, and not us? Why would the shorts win? Why? The halt only benefits the shorts. FINRA tried to play it off like, oh, people who bought on the 9th and 12th just wouldn't get their shares. There are people who bought months before that still haven't gotten their shares. Right? There are people who bought and they look in their account and their shares have been lent out the entire time. Or people who bought a month after trading halted, went into their account, turned on margin, and their shares were immediately lent out to somebody. So there's a lot of shady stuff going on. And the SEC needs to pull on their big boy pants and go, yeah, you know what, Congress, this is messed up. We're going to figure something out. And they're going to look at those blue sheets and they're going to go see who bought what and who's short on what. And then they're going to go knock on all those doors and be like, are you prepared to close your positions today? Because you may have to. And start pushing people around, man. 14, just push them around. Aaron Southie in Houston, finger 14 days green. A little red today. I think it went down just a pinch today, didn't it? A pinch red. Oh, it opened at 790 or so, finished at 75. So down 1%. That's okay. But if it closes over 7 on Friday, I think it pushes a bunch of things. Let's look at their Their options chain. FNGR options chain. See what's happening for Friday. Gotta turn off the Google Earth. Gotta turn on the Chrome. Bing, bing, bing. All right. Options chain. Okay, so actually, all right, where's the open interest? Oh, it won't tell us. We know there's stuff trading, but the open interest does not exist apparently. Look at the number of calls being bought though versus the number of puts being bought. If you think it's going to be toast by Friday, you're like, oh, we're going to hammer it down. It'll be that good. But we don't have any open interest numbers whatsoever, so we have no idea how many are out there. Weird. Will it show next month? October? October has no open interest either. What the what? How do you not have it? I want to know how many shares can go in the money. Why aren't you telling me, man? What aren't you telling me? Okay, so I have no idea. I have no idea what type of gamma we'll see on Monday if this thing closes above $7. You got me. Open interests ain't being listed. So, could be kajillions, could be 6. I don't know. So, weird. Okay. Well, can't talk about that because they don't have any data. Why would you show the volume but not the open interest? That's a weird... There's no bid and ask on it either. There's no price. What the heck? That's weird. I don't know. Stephanie, I don't DRS my BBYQ shares. Will I still be okay in the long run if this plays out in our favor? What's been of DRSing and safe storage? I don't see any difference for DRS or not DRS as far as this is concerned. If they get to the point where like, hey, we're gonna swap all these shares for new shares in our new company, weird stuff's gonna happen. You're gonna be in a brokerage account. You can sell if you want or don't. So I don't think DRSing BBYQ matters one way or the other as far as this goes. They're not just gonna be like, you no longer have these shares, bye-bye, if they're like going to bring shareholders into the new company. I think you'll be fine, Stephanie. Aaron 17, tomorrow is a major day for call options. 3,500 calls were bought today to 300. That's my $300 price. We're just saying it's going. Yeah. Hoping for the best. Woo! Houston, did the value of APE ever get rolled into AMC post-reverse split? Seemed like the new reverse price only included AMC's reverse value before it got smashed. That's was my take, is that it assumed the AMC price. So APE became AMC, assumed the AMC price in the reverse split, and then went forward from there. It was at $8 today. Is that where it's sitting? Went up a little bit. Go to the quick look. 825. Up a bit today, up 8%. So that's from 7 something, 8 something. The summer movie season did really, really, really well. When AMC's earnings come out, you're going to see a big old spike, and then they're probably going to start hammering it down from there. So look forward to that. That's what I think's going to happen. Hey, fat cat. So, you'll see it'll rocket ship when they do their earnings for this most recent quarter for sure. But the future looks kind of bleak on the movie front. We have a couple of weirdos who think they can like start going back and making shows. So Drew Barrymore is going back to do her talk show without writers. Dude, you woo-woo weirdo you have nothing to talk about. It's going to be a disaster, and she's going to be a pariah and probably never be able to like work in Hollywood again in any capacity because people just won't hire her for stuff. Showrunners won't bring her on. She's done. And then Bill Maher is going back to his show without writers. And Bill Maher isn't funny. He's not. If you ever watch stand-up comedian specials and stuff, you don't laugh. He just isn't funny. His entire monologue is stuff ripped from Twitter and That's it. That's his entire monologue. He just takes these jokes people put on Twitter and then he sells them again. And then his new rules, which is like the highlight of his show, is entirely his writing staff. And he isn't observant enough to make that work without those writers. So, and he's going to be a pariah. People aren't going to go on a show. He's not going to be able to get good guests on there. He's going to start to get like the worst people in the world. And he always brings in terrible people, but he usually has someone good on the show to like counteract it. Now the good people probably won't come on his show. So he's shit himself in the foot on that front as well. But I just can't imagine if you have signed these contracts where you're like, you get $20 million a year for a show, you can't hold out for 5 months, right? You're like, oh man, stuff's getting tight around here. I'm gonna have to go back doing a show. That's like Adam Aaron level of excuses, like, oh, I diversify. Dude, you made $20 million last year. Chill out. Like, you made 20 times what I've made my entire life just last year. Chill out, dude. So, I don't know. The rich behave in ways that don't make any sense to me. I'm sure if I'm ever rich, I will have superfluous expenses and do things that I wouldn't do as a middle-class person today. But, like, I'm as equally interested in reading a book as I am in, I don't know, driving a Lamborghini or something. Plus, I don't care about a Lamborghini. I like 80 shit boxes. I'm going to buy cheap-ass cars that break all the time because they're fun to work on. So that's how I roll. But I don't know. I guess everyone may be doing the Nick Cage thing where he did before the economy collapsed. He bought like 400 homes around the world, all got foreclosed on, and then he had to make like 25 movies a year in order to pay off his debt. So that's why I saw Nick Cage in so many terrible movies post 2008. Just terrible movie after terrible movie after terrible movie because he had bills to pay, baby. He was doing as many straight-to-video movies as he could, where his fee on that movie was the entire budget. Get Academy Award winner Nick Cage on your show, and by golly, we will make straight-to-video magic happen, and you're going to see the weirdest crap ever. He's apparently paid all his debts off. Now he's making the weird movies he wants to make, like Pig and stuff like that. But man, he had a rough 10 years there where he put out like 40 movies, and they were all terrible. I lost my spot. Where was I? Am I that far behind already? God damn, I am. Daphne, please don't forget to show your support by hitting the like. Hit the like button, subscribe, bell, become a member. Oh, and get a green name. Green name when you come. Everyone knows you're a member. Then you're a member of the club. You get a little helmet, space helmet next to you, and it's so worth it. It's be the driving force in your existence to get that green name. Know that you're a member. If you have a problem, you're a problem solver. And Stuart, Houston, ever seen a Kurta calculator? They're very cool. I don't know if I've ever heard of a Kurta calculator. Hey, kitten. Kitten's here in the Fat Cats with a kitten. Okay, I gotta look up Kurta calculator before I lose my Kurta calculator. Kurta calculator. Oh, look at what is that? Kurta calculator. Mechanical calculator designed by Kurt Herzark. Is known for its extremely compact design, a small cylinder that fits in the palm of the hand. It was affectionately known as a pepper grinder, pepper mill due to its shape. Were the best portable calculators available until they're displaced by electronic calculators in the 1970s. I mean, I knew what slide rules were, but no, it looks like a pencil sharpener. Credit Type 2. My dad used a slide rule when he was doing his engineering until calculators came out. I don't know if you ever used one of these. I'll have to ask him. So this is what they look like. Like this. It's got a bunch of digits in there. I'm sure there's some sort of thing. All right. His work pocket calculator stopped in 1938 when Nazis forced him and his company to concentrate on manufacturing precision instruments for the German army. Huh. I mean, it looks like a definite machine. Oh, looks like he got shorted. So Soviet forces had arrived in July, and Herzog feared being sent to Russia. So later that same month, he fled to Austria. He began to look for financial backers, at the same time filing continuing patents, as well as several additional patents to protect his work. Franz Joseph II, Prince of Liechtenstein, eventually showed interest in the manufacture of the device, and soon a newly formed company, Cotina AG Morin, began production in Liechtenstein. It was not long before Herzog's financial backers, thinking they had got from him all they needed, conspired to force him out by reducing the value of the company's existing stock to zero, including his 1/3 interest. So they shorted him, right? These are the same people who had earlier elected not to have Herzog transfer ownership of his patents to the company, so that should anyone sue, they'd be suing Herzog, not the company, thereby protecting themselves at Herzog's expense. This ploy now backfired. With the patent rights, they could manufacture nothing. Herzog was also was able to negotiate a new agreement, and money continued to flow to him. Way to go, guy who built weapons for the Nazis. But way to battle short sellers. They screwed him over on there. So it was $125. Type 2 sold for $175. 3% of Kurtas were returned to the factory for warranty repair. A small but significant number of buyers returned their Kurtas in pieces, having attempted to disassemble them. Reassembling the machine was more difficult, requiring intimate knowledge of the orientation and installation order for each part and subassembly. So basically, it was a pain in the ass. Machines have a high curiosity value. In 2016, they sold for $1,000, but buyers paid as much as $1,900 for models in pristine condition with notable serial numbers. All right. There you go. I have no idea how it works. And it design. Numbers entered using slides, one slide per digit on the side of the device. The revolution counter and result counter reside in the shiftable carriage at the top of the machine. A single turn of the crank adds the input number to the result counter. Any carriage position increments the corresponding digit of the revolution counter. Pulling the crank upwards slightly before turning performs subtraction instead of addition. Multiplication, division, other functions require a series of crank and carriage shifting operations. Okay. Well, now I want to get my hands on one of these. All right, cool. I never knew about those. Brain wrinkled. All right. Michael Harrow, can you explain what you know about the export market? Export market is for pink sheet stocks of dying companies. These are companies that they feel as though you, as a regular loser, should not have any part in. Because the problem was, right before that, the pink sheet stocks, these loser stocks, were exploding along with all the other shorted stocks. As the margin calls came in, people had to sell whatever they could and close out whatever they could. And so you saw things like Bed Bath & Beyond and Lehman Brothers. The prices just skyrocketed on them. These were stocks that were at fractions of a penny, and suddenly they're trading at like 20 cents, right? So if you have something that's at a hundredth of a penny and it goes to 20 cents, you're going up like 2000x on that. Whoa. So they decided to create the export market, which they put into place September of 2021, which means people who had these garbage stocks, they can keep them, but they can't buy more. They can sell if they want to, but they can't buy any. The only people who can buy are experts, and the experts are funds, institutions, market makers, accredited investors, etc. Right? Those are the folks who can actually buy the stuff. So they did this basically to keep FOMO from hitting these tiny little dead companies, causing the big boys to have to close their positions because they don't want you jumping in, making Blockbuster jump up 2,000% when they can just keep you from buying it, and then the price can't explode ever. The only people that still have some can be forced to close eventually if they want to, or the broker forces them to close, etc. That's basically the entire existence of the expert market. Sys54 sounds like a bunch of document and data storage is going to go up in flames. Citadel sweating it out. We'll see what what happened to Virtue's server farms with this lawsuit. They just vanished. They don't exist anymore. Sorry. Oops. I don't know what happened. Someone brought a magnet into the server farm. Security. You get what you pay for, right? That's probably what's going to happen. Lots of ways of BBYQ being canceled. There's language in the plan that suggests that, but there's also language in the plan that suggests it's going to be swapped out for something else. And this is the type of stuff that I believe the judge is going to go make him clarify before he puts a stamp on that, and then things that might change later. So I don't know. The brokers are treating it like it's going to get canceled, which is why they're moving it to the expert market. We'll see. Aaron Valentine asking about the Mexican Congress hearing the alien, to approve aliens. Yeah, those guys are fakers. And it's Lydia asking the same thing. Jinx at the same exact time. J. King, Houston. Good morning to you and all. Great late night. Thanks. What do you think about No Labs hitting its 52-week low? Any thoughts? Poor time for them to hit 52-week low. They're going to have to probably issue more shares to the market December, January. They said so in like their 8K from the last reporting. Like, hey, we got enough capital last through January. We'll probably have to sell some shares then. We've not had any updates for a month or so on their ongoing trials or the construction of their glucose monitoring device. They're making like 100 of them to use in trials before they get approval. I'm sure the type of thing where they'd be like, we finished our tests. Here's the results. We're getting them verified by various, nonpartisan labs, and then we'll get some news. My guess is that if they're going to sell shares, they're going to want to pair that sale with a really good announcement of like, hey, we just passed phase 3 trials. Now we're applying to the FDA, and stocks can go woohoo, and so then they'll sell. Because if they keep quiet through December without any good news, and then they sell a bunch, then it's going to dilute it more. So I would look for a good press release, and then they announce they're going to sell more shares. That's probably what they're going to do. Or they're also going to sell more shares and then release a good press release, and things go bong. So that's what they want. Oh, look at you, floor dog. All right. A passing cloud. I can no longer place Fidelity limit orders on BBYQ. Yep, that happened at like 9 o'clock. Just as I went tippity-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap, you can still buy on Fidelity, and hit send. I checked my messages, and literally that minute when I hit send was when I got notification they can no longer buy on Fidelity. Oh well. Paul Engelbrecht, bull hit. As an hour ago, so I have no idea what that's about. Since 54, someone on Reddit had an outage chart showing that Starlink went down during the most recent attack in Ukraine. Putin praising him as a good person and businessman. Asset much? 100%. Putin guaranteed Elon the lithium in Donbass. Because Putin wants the natural gas in Donbass. Because the natural gas in Donbass means Ukraine no longer has to rely on Russia, and neither does the rest of Europe. That's the entire reason why he invaded and why he wants Donbass. So, yeah, Elon needs a security clearance pulled and his company's nationalized. And then if you really want, you investigate him lying on his visa application and overstaying his visa, and thus you yank his citizenship, send his dumb ass back to South Africa. Which then begets the prediction I made in my master's thesis about Elon doing something stupid, losing his contracts, and then moving his entire operation to a non-space treaty country. And my example, I think I used Libya as a non-space treaty country. Like, Elon moves his company to Libya, and he can do whatever he wants in space, and no one can tell him otherwise. And so we'll see if that big crystal ball that I wrote in 2018 comes true. It was when I was doing that master's is when it was online master's. So you have to get in these like discussion groups with your classmates. And we were discussing, commercial space and stuff like that. I was aware of Elon. I was like, oh, this guy's he's got a space company, he's got a car company, whatever. I never really like looked into him as a human being. And then this dude described Elon Musk as one inconvenience away from becoming a Bond villain. I was like, that's a interesting way to phrase it. And then I started reading about the guy and I was like, holy shit, this guy's a moron. Yeah, I 100% guarantee he's one inconvenience away from becoming a Bond villain. And look at him today. He is straight up Bond villain. He's not a very smart one. Peter Thiel's the smart Bond villain, but Elon is a Bond villain nonetheless. And everyone's too scared to criticize him. Like, criticize the guy. You knock him down a peg. I'm doing it. You can too. He's bad at what he does. Any success he has is because there's a management structure in place for people to go, yes, sir, get around right on that, sir. It's a great idea, sir. And the minute Elon turns his back, he goes, we're not doing that. We're going to do it the way we should. And then when it's success, Elon goes, I was a genius. See how smart I was? When what they did specifically was the exact opposite of what Elon told them to do. That has been Elon's route to success. The entire Falcon 9 program was run by a man who set up a multi-level management structure of just people to distract Elon from ruining that project. After Falcon 9 was a success, the guy retired, Elon took over Starship, and there you go. So that's how it works. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're smart. There's a fantastic New York University study from years ago where for over 30 years they followed multiple generations of children. They followed impoverished geniuses. We're talking kids with IQs of 150 or more who were poor. And they studied bona fide moron rich kids with IQs well below 100 who were rich. And they followed them throughout life. And lo and behold, the really poor smart kids were poor. And the really rich dumb kids were still rich. That's America. And they did a follow-up a few years later and discovered, yeah, it's still that way. So rich boy is going to be rich. Poor boy is going to be poor. That's just how it works. And I'm sorry, but we are not a meritocracy in this country. I like to pretend we are, because every once in a while, someone from down there makes it big. We pretend like they're the Bill Gates or the Jeff Bezos, or Elon Musk, or Zuckerberg, but Zuckerberg was from a rich family. Bill Gates was from a rich family. Jeff Bezos was from a rich family. Elon Musk was from a rich family. They're just rich people getting opportunities others can't. That's all it is. That's the privilege of being rich. So, Jay Geyser just saw Dumb Money makes me madder than I was already. Knew most of it, but fuckers should be guillotined. Well, sounds like I need to go see it. Maybe Saturday. Maybe I can go see it Saturday. Yeah. What do you say, monkey? You want to go sit in the car while I watch a movie for 2 hours? It's your favorite thing in the world. First time I did that, she ate the stick shift off my truck. So, had to get a new one of those. Choppa too. I like birds. You should probably go be a birder. Or an ornithologist. Jibberdu. Love you. I love you too. Cy W. Houston, if BBYQ did squeeze, I think it could hit GME squeeze numbers or possibly higher. Also, could significant squeeze in BBYQ trigger other basket stocks, GME, AMC, etc. to follow? Oh, it would definitely trigger other stocks if it went huge. We're talking something that would be... All right, let's... What about the calculator? Calculator time, all right? Okay. I'm going to turn off the Chrome. I'm going to turn on the calculator. Oh, I don't have the calculator on. That's calculator. Bing! All right. Oh, got to turn off the MS Paint. That's the problem. Okay, MS Paint disappeared. Okay, so we have 700 million shares, right? 700 million shares. And currently it's at 19 cents. So $133 million theoretically, you could buy the entire company for $133 million, right? That's how much it's worth. Okay. 700 million shares at $480, which is where GME went. You're now looking at $336 billion. Okay, you're at the GDP of a medium-sized nation just for this one company during a squeeze. That's enough to trigger all sorts of shitstorms, right? Because it's not just those 700 million shares that exist. It's all the borrowed shares and all of the naked shorted shares, which, let's face it, is probably at several 100% of the actual float. So multiply that sucker by 4 or 5, you're into $1 trillion of liability, right? So you have $1 trillion of liability that these market makers, hedge funds, family funds, etc., are now on the hook for. And they got to start selling stuff, right? And if this sucker's in the same basket, so it's trading in ETFs with other things, it's going to cause the value of the ETFs to skyrocket as well, which will cause the prices of the stocks inside those ETFs to rocket, which will cause their market short to increase, which will increase the liability of those who have shorted them. And you're going to get spikes like you did in January 2021 across the board on all these shorted stocks. So yeah, it could definitely trigger a thing. So, I mean, yeah, let's get to $480. Woo! Houston's retired. You'll see him twice a year when he does like a, hey, I still exist show. From some, tropical location or whatever. Top of a mountain somewhere, I don't know. Oh, I had a really spicy dinner and I'm feeling it right now. Boo! Okay. Ding. Vicky, you lied about Elon. Starlink is not allowed for offensive action. Ukraine asked for access over Crimea. He denied it. South Space Minister information. No, that is not what happened. Elon, so A, there's an investigation that discovered this. B, Elon's own biographer, having conversations with Elon tells him, hey, I noticed I watched the Ukraine war live via my Starlink usage. I noticed they were launching this offensive. I turned it off. The day after, Malaysian citizen Ian Miles Chong told him to, who's also a Russian asset. Let's face it, Ian Miles Chong works for Russia, and he's not American. He comments on America constantly because that's how he makes his living, but he's never been here. He was a Redditor at one point and once a reply guy to pretty ladies, and then discovered that being a Putin sycophant makes more money for you. So he became that. Then the biographer goes back. He's like, no. Elon totally told them he wasn't allowed to use it for offensive capabilities. And then they asked him, and he was like, sorry, guys. He changed the story from the recorded conversation they put into the biography. So no, that's Ricky. That's not at all how it happens. And when you are a country that's invaded by another country, going on the offensive is still defending your nation, right? If you're still battling inside your own country, even if you're on the offense, you're still defending your nation. So it's not really like disallowing going offensive. Disallowing going offensive would be like them invading Russia, right? That's what that would fall under. But Elon not allowing them to destroy the Russian fleet resulted in a whole bunch of citizens getting absolutely wiped out by the Russian fleet bombing them. So Elon did Russia's bidding, got Ukrainians killed, all because he wants peace and love? No. He's a fucking Russian asset. Elon sucks. He's a sucky human being. I've been telling you for years, and all he has done since then is shown you just what a miserable cunt he is. Elon sucks. He sucks. He's always sucked. He's a sucky dude. He's a bad person. He's not as smart as he thinks he is. He's an asshole. And he's racist. And he's an anti-Semite. And he's sexist. And he's a homophobe. And he's transphobic. He's just got all the little bigotry bullshit wrapped up into one. And he's just rich. And he does sci-fi stuff. So like uncritical nerds are like, oh, he's really cool. No, that's it. He if Elon had not been born rich, you never would have heard of him. Ever. He's not talented enough to pull himself out of the mud with the rest of us mud people. He isn't. You never would have heard of him. He'd be some toothless guy in outskirts of, I don't know, Pretoria, South Africa, talking about trains and anyone who will come by. Doing whatever weird thing that obsession he would have. He's just not worth it. The world will be better if Elon did not have money and power. He's not contributing to the benefit of society. He's not. The original plan of Tesla, the guys who actually founded Tesla, those guys, Elon was an angel investor, and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to put more money in this and kick you assholes out of here. And then I'm going to claim I'm the founder. He did not found Tesla. The original vision for Tesla was, we're going to make this cool roadster. It's going to kick ass. It's going to have crazy 0-60 times. It's going to have better range than any other car out there. And we're going to sell it, and then we're going to generate some capital from it. And using that capital, we're going to make an electric car for the masses. We're going to make an electric car that any middle class and below person can buy for like $10,000. That was the plan. And instead, Elon kicks these guys out and he makes himself a luxury car company. So he defeated the entire vision of the company to begin with, and then claimed he was the founder. He wasn't. He lied. He claimed he's the founder at PayPal. He wasn't. He lied. He had a company that Peter Thiel's company bought, and then they're like, okay, you had a bunch of stake in this, so we're going to make you CEO. And then he failed himself out of a job. He's like, let's make this company, we'll call it X. And all the other investors and the board are like, no, the company's called PayPal. People actually use our company name as a verb, right? I'm going to PayPal you some money. Like, that's the dream of a tech company. If your company's being used, I'm going to Google that. That's what you want, right? Like, put that to Excel spreadsheet. Could mean any spreadsheet. Put that in Word. Could mean any word processor. You want your brand to be made into a verb, and that's when you know you made it. And he's like, no, I'm going to call it X. They had some like study groups, and the study groups were like, yeah, I'm not going to use a banking app called X because that just sounds like I'm using a porn company. So no, I would leave. I would not use this company. He tells everyone, we're going to leave Linux. We're going to go to a Windows-based system. We're going to reprogram the entire website. Just scratch everything. We're going to start from scratch. And again, the board's like, no, we're going to stay on Linux because that's what we wrote, and we're not going to change all the code because it works. And he's like, no, we're changing it. We're changing it to X. And all of a sudden, the website started failing. There were security breaches where a lot of customer data got stolen and money got stolen and fraud happened. And finally, the board's like, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. And they fired him for compounding problems with the website and having no business plan. Those two reasons, right? And so they give him $100 million to get the hell out of there. Big ass golden parachute. Plus, he's still out of stock and whatnot. He takes that $100 million. He hears about these guys building a car company. He's like, hey, I'm gonna invest my $100 million in a car company. And that's how that's how it happened. And then he creates, from this, because Tesla exploded and it became just insanely valued for what they produce. Like, we're not just a car company, we're a tech company. We make solar panels. Good luck trying to get Tesla solar panels on your house, right? We make storage batteries. Okay, good luck getting your house insured with Tesla storage batteries in your house. Your insurance company's going to go, you're going to put a bunch of Tesla lithium batteries in your house? No. Are you going to put Tesla solar panels in your house? No. Why? Because they keep burning houses down. They're really poorly made. They short out constantly. And then if you get a lithium fire, well, that's not getting put out. It's going to melt everything around it. It's going to burn for fucking 30 hours. So no. That side of Tesla, complete failure. So he wants people to drive cars, right? So he latches on to the sci-fi idea of using pneumatic tubes to fire everyone around, right? These hyperloops. And the hyperloops, Richard Branson was talking about doing hyperloops as well, because it is the law of physics. You put people in a vacuum tube, you can fire these things resistance free as fast as you want. You can get from like LA to New York in an hour or whatever, and people would pay money to do that. But the infrastructure to build it is insane, and if there's an accident, it's also insane. So Elon's like, I'm going to start this hyperloop company called Boring, and we're going to build hyperloops everywhere. And the thing is, when tech bros go and they do research as to like the most efficient way to move people, you get trains and buses, right? Well, trains and buses don't sell cars. So Elon's like, how about we build hyperloops and we'll put our individual Teslas inside of them and then fire those around. And they're like, okay, that's not efficient though, to like have one person sitting in a car that could seat 5 people and then spending like an inordinate amount of energy to fire them across the country. So he's like, hey, how about with our hyperloops? It's not a vacuum chamber. They're not getting fired around quickly. You just like drive along and then you get lowered onto a cart and they wheel you around the city in these tubes underground. Okay. So now you have roads traveling slower than traffic, holding 1 car per cart. What then? And he's like, we're going to build a test track in Las Vegas. And they dig a tunnel in Las Vegas. Because Las Vegas desperately needs mass transportation. You have a city of 500,000 police people, plus 1 million visitors at any one time. People need to get around, right? Otherwise, you got to walk far, or you got taxis. And you're paying a fortune on those taxis. So Vegas, like, hey, yeah, dig a hole for us. We'll take it. And that hole ends up becoming just Tesla taxis. And it's slow as shit. Like, you're not speeding through that tunnel at 70 miles an hour. You're going like 15 miles an hour. Sitting in some dude's Tesla. It took you forever to wait for the Tesla to show up. And then some guy's like, this is your Tesla to get into. And you end up a mile later at a different casino at a speed you could have walked, right? And you go through this tunnel. The tunnel has no egress, no emergency egress, no ventilation, right? So if there's a fire, say from a lithium battery, there's no way for fire crews to get in there and to stop the thing. And it will burn for like 30 hours to catch all the other cars behind it on fire, which then also burn for like 30 hours at temperatures of, I don't know, 1200 degrees. And so they're going to melt the entire tunnel and everyone's going to die. Or die from the toxic smoke that happens that has nowhere to escape because you didn't build any vents like you're supposed to in a tunnel. Whereas if you had allowed gas cars to tunnel, you would have to have the vents anyway because that's what you do because the exhaust comes out. So it gets revealed through a San Francisco Chronicle investigation that Elon created the Boring Company not to actually build trains, not to build transportation, but as a way to halt municipalities from actually building public transportation infrastructure. So they did this investigation. They found all these documents. They revealed it a couple years ago, and they showed that whenever a city talked about building, a subway system, building trains, whatever, Elon's company coming like, no, don't waste your money on that. We're going to invent this system that's better than that. So if you spend money on those trains now, you won't be able to spend money on this amazing boring product we have later. It's going to be so much cooler and sci-fi. And they would do these PR campaigns to keep these cities from building infrastructure they needed. They would get people around efficiently and environmentally sound ways, just so that they would actually have to go out and buy more cars, because they wouldn't build the infrastructure, and Elon would never provide the high-speed transportation they need. He was never planned on providing high-speed transportation. He never will provide high-speed transportation. You will never see a vacuum tube firing somebody at 4,000 miles an hour across the country like he promised 15 years ago. It's just never going to happen. He's never going to build it, because if he builds it, then people won't need his cars. And that's the only thing that makes money at his Tesla company, because he's not making money on solar panels. He's not making money on power generation. He's not making money on battery storage for these places. Other companies do a better job of battery storage than Tesla does for the home. So they're going with them. They're cheaper. They work better. They got better fire suppression. And man, this cat's like crazy right now. Yeah, so it's just hogwash. It's bogus, hocus pocus bullcrap, right? His Starlink satellites. The Starlink satellites was supposed to be a network of like 3,000 satellites, little micro satellites, tiny little like softball sized things that go everywhere, and they cost like $30 each to make. And you launch them into space, and you spread them out after a few launches of your Falcon 9 Heavy, and you're good to go, right? And it turns out that the tech didn't exist to make the softball sized ones. They had to make ones the size of school buses, and they cost millions of dollars to launch. And you're going to have 4,000 of them. You're going to have like 40,000 of them. So now you're going to be ruining any science try to do with the sky, right? You're going to be making it radio astronomy impossible. So we're not going to be able to learn about deep space anymore. You're going to ruin the night sky because you didn't want to paint these things matte black so they wouldn't shine. He wants to make them as reflective as possible. So you see them fucking flying across the sky constantly, ruining your evenings out in the country. And now we've got problems where we might be reaching Kessler syndrome stage. You've never heard about Kessler syndrome? Kessler syndrome is sort of what the movie Gravity was based on, that Sandra Bullock movie, where you have a collision happen in space. These objects are going 17,000 miles an hour, right? They collide in space. You got little pieces of metal firing off all different directions at tens of thousands of miles an hour. And like a nut or a bolt off one of these things flying 17,000 miles an hour can explode a whole other satellite, which then creates even more debris, which sends out at 10,000 miles an hour, 17,000 miles an hour, and those hit more objects. And then if you get this cascade event, this meltdown of low Earth orbit, where you have millions or billions of objects in random orbits all flying around the Earth at 15 to 20,000 miles an hour, meaning you can never launch anything into space again, right? If you cannot launch things into space, this is the end of weather satellites. This is the end of GPS. This is the end of being able to watch the Olympics. There's no way you can watch the Olympics without bouncing a signal off a satellite, right? You cannot watch these world events happen. So you'll be thrusting the entire world back to basically World War II technology and trapping us on the surface of the Earth. So there goes any dreams Elon has of inhabiting Mars. You can't get a spaceship through that crap you just made because you put too many satellites in orbit. You put a small number of little softball sized ones. You put 10 times as much school bus sized ones up there. So Elon's dumb. He does dumb things. His move fast, break stuff mentality actually destroys the environment and makes things worse. I forgot to mention when he financially supported a coup in Bolivia so you have access to lithium. Fuck that guy. He's just a garbage person, and there's no redeeming qualities. None. I can't think of a single redeeming quality he has. You guys can try to come up with a redeeming quality, and I will be able to shoot it down in 20 seconds. More of a rant. There you go. Elon sucks. He sucks. We make t-shirts that just say Elon sucks and put them on the website. No one will buy them, but I'll know they're there. Okay. Citizen 54, a-hole CEO calls 50% unemployment. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people they work for the employer, not the other way around. They're not even hiding their disdain. That's true. That Australian dude who told everyone about they need to stop eating avocado toast. This is a guy who started his first business, was a gym when he was 19, because his grandfather gave him the money to buy the gym. And so he's 19, he builds this gym, and he runs it for 6 months, and he sells it for a profit. And he's like, woo, I sold it for a profit. Yes, dude, you sold it for a profit because you didn't pay for it. So anything you sold it for is a profit because your grandfather actually bought it. Because that's how dudes like this guy and Elon work, is rich family member buys it for you. Whenever you read these articles about how this millennial was successful or how they bought their house, you find out I stayed in my grandfather's vacation home for a year and I saved up money. And then my dad gave me a $500,000 loan so I was able to buy this house. That's not how the real world works, dude. I hate kitten. Who's a kitten? Just ran in, stared at me, ran away. What was I ranting about? Oh yeah, rich assholes. They pretend like they pull themselves up by the bootstraps, but it always comes from their old money parents who gave them a loan. Mitt Romney, his dad gave him $1 million loan to start his own private equity firm. Whose dad gave him $1 million loan to start their own private equity firm? Bill Gates started Windows because he got money from his dad to buy the actual DOS program off the dude who invented it, and then his mom, who served on the board of the United Way with the CEO of IBM, convinced IBM to buy it. That's how Windows got started. Nepotism, baby, makes the world go around. Jeff Bezos' dad gave him $300,000 to start Amazon. Mark Zuckerberg's dad gave him $125,000 to start Facebook. Elon Musk's dad gave him $30,000 to start Zip2. Right? These dudes were supported by the rich family members the entire time. The whole time. And then they think like, oh, I did it all myself and I'm all on my own. You've never done it on your own. Most people never do things on their own. They always have somebody supporting them along the way. And they might think they did it on their own, but you didn't. You had a wife who was like staying home with the kids and cooking and cleaning or whatever. You had a parent who let you live at home to like work in the garage. You had someone who sent you off to school. You got, training from the government. Somewhere along the line, somebody helped you. You've never done anything on your own. If you think you have, you haven't. There's always been somebody somewhere giving you a helping hand, lending hope, giving some investment funds, picking up the pieces when you had a miserable failure and you didn't have too far to crash because you had that support network. Like, if you accomplished something great, there was somebody who usually helped you. And just gotta acknowledge that. Just gotta acknowledge that, right? That's all that happens. You'd be like, hey, I did not do this on my own. I had a wonderful support network. And I owe it to that. Yeah, it takes gumption. You gotta have gumption to do things. But it's easier to have gumption when you got a safety net than when you don't. Otherwise, you're just stuck working like 3 jobs, working your ass off and never getting anywhere because you don't have the safety net that others do. Okay, I'm going to dial back the rantedness. All right. Aaron Salentine, the only way to not allow a market crash is if the payments on homes and everything else does $5 a month for 10,000 years at least. They're fixed it. Hire me as an economist. Yeah. Oh, a 10,000 year home loan, please. Thank you very much. My grandchildren, 47 generations from now, they'll take care of it. Mike, how can I go to Hawaii on the cheap? I always wanted to go. Well, always go September, October. It's the cheapest time to go. Like I just had Google Flights up here a little bit ago. All right. Looks like it went up a little bit. So 258 round trip. Okay, so here we go. Scene. Chrome. Google Flights right now, Seattle to Hilo. 258 round trip in October. So if you go, let's say October 10th, and come back 17th, boom, you just did round trip for $258. Not too shabby. I don't know where else you could be from. Los Angeles, California. Oops, nope. Let's put Los Angeles. Oops, I did Los Angeles. I can't spell anything, spell Angeles. Los Angeles, California. Yes, you. To Hilo. Search. Same dates, 240 round trip. Bam. Nonstop to Kona. 240 round trip from Los Angeles. Let's see what the East Coast is like. New York State. I don't care where in New York you are. We're going to Hilo. We're going the same period of time. 500 round trip from New York. Boom. There you go. So cheap time to go to New York, or cheap time to go to Hawaii. September, October. See, it's out there. If you're flexible and you can like leave when others. That's when there's no tourists. School, people have started school. It's not Thanksgiving yet. It's not Christmas yet. Is the ultimate off season is September, October to go places. Like if you can be an off season or shoulder season traveler, you can go to Europe for cheap. Like tickets to Europe right now. Let's see what Seattle, Washington to I don't know Paris, France. Bam. What are we gonna do in round trip? $684 round trip to Paris for that week in October. So you can take your honey bunny on a romantic trip to Paris, and Paris has some of the cheapest hotels you'll ever have. You can stay in a Fleabag hotel in Paris for like 20 euros a night, right? So, they find it romantic and charming because it might have been somewhere that, I don't know, Voltaire got syphilis or something. But you can wine and dine. So for like $2,000 total, You can fly to Paris, have a romantic week with your loved one, and come back. Psh, you know, $30 a day and like visiting a museum, buy some crepes on the street. You're good to go. Baguettes are like $1.50 in the morning for breakfast. You can totally do it on a budget. So there you go. If you know, get a little squeeze from Bye Bye Baby by then, maybe we'll Bye Bye USA and go somewhere cool. Daphne, guess what? They can't have a business without people to work it. Exactly. Yeah, we're going to cause pain and get rid of all the consumers who made our companies make money. Meanwhile, you can just cut CEO pay by like 90% and the company will still exist. And people will still buy the product as much as they want. Joshua Wagner, is it possible for GME squeeze or is it made impossible? I do not think it's made impossible at all. Yeah. And Scott Paulin says only postponed, prolonged. Yep. Frozen Day Productions. If you skydive clouds, what would happen? Thunderstorm in guessing death. Could your body become hail? Rain clouds would get you wet and then body blow dry on the way down. Yes, if you can pass through a cloud, you'll get wet. Just like passing through fog leaves moisture behind, you get dew on you. Like if you fly in a plane, you pass through clouds, you notice like the windows will get rain on it. You're up in a bunch of condensed water, and yeah, you'll get wet. A thundercloud, now that would be interesting, because planes get struck by lightning, but planes are highly conductive. But if you're passing through a thundercloud, you're covered in water, you might be conductive enough to have lightning pass through you on its way between the earth and the cloud. You would not become a hailstone in that you'd be too big for an updraft to lift you, because remember the largest hailstone ever found is 14 inches in diameter, which takes about 680 mile an hour winds to lift up. Maybe if you were in a wingsuit, you might be able to take those updrafts up and down at that speed, fight gravity in that way. And that way you could probably become a bit of a hailstone. You'd get at least one layer on you of that ice. That's for sure. Because granted, like if you're up high enough inside a thunderhead, you're like 60,000 feet up. So you're not going to be breathing anyway. You're going to be dead. So you got to have an oxygen mask doing your halo jump. But yeah, I would not want to skydive in a lightning storm. That's for sure. Just because I don't want to be a conduit for like a gajillion volts and who knows how many amps of electricity. Nature would be scary. But yeah, you could blow dry on the way down. It'd be really cold still. You would not warm up. Because evaporation makes things even colder, right? So if you're wet and miserable and you're flying at terminal velocity drying out, the water's evaporating on you like a crazy amount. So you guys ever have, of course I don't have one here anymore. I used it to blow off stuff on the car. Compressed air, like a little compressed air can, right? You crank that sucker, ice will form on the outside. Just psh. Like if you've ever vented an oxygen tank, like scuba diving, you're like, oh, I gotta vent this oxygen tank because I'm gonna be taking it with me somewhere or whatever. Ice will form on the outside. So that evaporation, that motion of losing mass rapidly causes the device that's losing its mass to cool down really quick, and vice versa. You pump a bunch of energy into something, pump a bunch of air into something, you can get warm. So they did a good job in the Eric Bana Hulk movie. It was a bad movie in general, but the Hulk would increase or decrease in size depending on how much rage there was in that movie, which comic book guys were like, that's not what happens. But when they had him explode in size, he actually was cold, and when he would compress down and get denser, he would heat up and like be dripping with sweat and be nice and hot. I thought that was interesting how they did that, which would suggest that the Hulk was the same mass when he was big as he was small, which means Hulk is just like a giant balloon. He should have been like floating through the air. So they didn't quite get the physics right on that. But that's what I always wondered, like how the Hulk gained mass when he got angry, right? He goes from this like 160-pound dude to like a 1,000-pound monster. Where'd that weight come from, man? I mean, it should be easy to push around like a dinghy floating on the water at that point. Like we can play like beach ball with the Hulk. Anyway, I'm looking too much into comic book physics to try to make sense of that. Okay, so I am an hour and 20 minutes behind, and I've got like 8 or so minutes left. My voice is starting to fail me today. So if there's any other questions you want to throw at me, that's the super chat time. Throw a super chat at me, and I can guarantee and get to the question. Otherwise, I'm still going to try to read from the line and get as many as I can get in. Mike, what's the chance of World War III in the next 365 days? Greater than 0, less than 1. I mean, Putin's still backed into a corner in Russia. He's probably going to have to do another mass conscription this winter or this fall. And judging from what happened to them last winter, I don't think things will go any better than they have. You might get an influx of munitions from North Korea. Problem with the munitions from North Korea is that they're just as old and useless as the munitions Russia's been using, where they have lots of duds. So I don't think they're going to find much more success on that front than they did trying to take Bakhmut for all of last year. It just became a graveyard for them. The soldiers don't have proper clothes. They don't have food. They don't have water. They don't have bullets. So when you send these guys out there, they're just going to go out there to be cannon fodder or freeze to death. So, yeah, I don't think Putin's going to gain any ground this winter. That's for sure. Scott Paul and Apple's another example of a heavily shorted company that did not die. Yeah, Apple stock, September 12th, 2001. So, September 11th happened. When the markets opened, they didn't open on the 12th, they opened a couple days later. Apple was 25 cents a share. It's split so many times since then that each one of those 25 cents a share. I think if you had invested in 2001, if you invested the price of an iPod, which I think was $199, you'd have like $70,000 today. That's what Apple did since that time. So sometimes these things just go bing and you're there. Frozen State Productions, Dougie Cifu's boss comes from a New York crime family. Do you think some money managers start disappearing or falling out of windows? Happy birthday. What was that documentary about short selling? What was it called? The one that they talk about EagleTech.com. They could do like VoIP calling back in the 90s and got super shorted, and then it was a documentary that's been passing around for about 15 years on YouTube, and I can't remember the name of it at all. But one of the things they point out was the mafia money that was involved in a lot of these hedge funds. Like Solomon Smith Barney was doing a lot of this shorting, and they were like serious mafia money was behind this, and they're just straight up committing crimes with their naked shorting and shorting companies like before their IPO to make these dudes a lot of money. Yeah, so I have no doubt that you got crime families involved in this stuff. Like, can you make a lot of money going door to door in a neighborhood and be like, paper protection? Okay, yeah, you can probably make some good change that way. But then what do you do with it? Well, you put it in the market and make money sitting there, right? And you go, wait. So I was making money sitting there. I got a whole bunch in there. I'm gonna make one of my sons a real good money guy. I'm gonna send him over to Wall Street. He's gonna take care of this for me. So now you got like in made men working in Wall Street. Hey, we're gonna do some crime because my dad wants me to. And they're gonna go and they're gonna start fucking the system because that's what they can do. And so now you got the mafia full bore in a lot of these hedge funds and institutions and stuff. And it's making way more money than they were like shaking down a bodega owner on Little Italy or whatever. Like those are the steps you take. Like, you know, the mafiosa in Russia, they started by shaking down storefronts and selling off surplus and things. And then they get into human trafficking in the oil business. And once you start getting to like higher and higher money, you don't give a crap about that lower order stuff. Who cares if the neighborhood flower seller is paying their like $100 a month of protection money? You don't care because you just made, you know, $100,000 an hour on whatever giant financial plan you got going on. And you start laundering money out of the country and putting it into weird banks everywhere. And then all of a sudden these banks are taking in dirty money because they want to take in money. That's their job. And you start corrupting Deutsche Bank and, you know, the Bank of Cyprus and HSBC and like one after another. Once you taint their banks with this money, you got them. Right? So yeah, there's dirty money all over the place. And even then, like, you can look at the generations later of that dirty money. Donald Trump's grandfather ran a brothel in the Yukon. That's how he made his money, right? That money went to his son, who then created an industrial empire, or sorry, a residential building empire in Queens. He built huge tracts of Lego housing for GIs coming in after World War II. Donald Trump takes over, make sure the Trump name is on everything. He's like, hey, I did it all myself. And he is still a mafia dude. The guy who's running the brothel, the values he had instilled into his son Frank, who instilled into his son Donald, they made their money. The Kennedys were bootleggers during Prohibition. They were gangsters. That's how they made their money. They became president of the United States also. Like, every step of the way, there's somebody just absolutely breaking the law and crushing somebody else, turning their money legit, and then like 2 generations later, the kid becomes president of the United States. That's just how it goes. That's how you do it, right? So, yeah. So that's where it is. What we got? First Day Productions, Bigham said Chase has $280 billion in shares sold but not yet purchased. How can they do that when they're supposed to buy those stocks? Because no one's made them. That's why. All these big banks, market makers have tens of billions or hundreds of billions of shares or securities sold, not yet purchased. And because the SEC is not making them purchase them, they aren't. And they never will until they're forced to. Simple as that. I can hear the coyotes going nuts out there right now. Monkey's hearing them. You hear them all? I doubt they're coming out, but the fan's probably drowning them out on the microphone here. Okay, we'll do one more, and then I gotta give my voice a rest because it's tired. I have a tired voice. I've been talking all day. Okay, people are just fighting in the chat. I gotta get past all the fighting, and I can do one more question. Augie's here. Hello, Augie. People talking about Colorado. Okay. People talking about when the snow's coming. Michael McMinnison, thank you for giving the advice on how to DRS my shares of MTLP from Fidelity AST. I was told it may take up to 4 weeks to move them due to the paper shares required. Super easy to do. It took, for me, I think it was 25th of July, and I got confirmation by the end of August. So yeah, it was about 4 weeks for me to get that confirmation. So yeah, they were right. It took about 4 weeks. Okay. That wasn't my question. That was just you saying thank you. So, Oh, and then there's the reset. And don't drop the soap. It's either an Elon rant, GME rant, or Nazi rant. We've had all three tonight. All right. Okay. Any LK99 updates to share? I haven't heard anything since they gave over their doodads for testing. I inhaled some water there right at the voice and with my voice feeling terrible. And then they released another paper basically like, you guys didn't do this right. This is the step. You do it this way, do it this way, do it this way, and then boom, you get yourself a superconductor. And I've not heard any other confirmations that it's worked since then. But I still hold out hopes that we're going to have a room temperature superconductor. Man, that'd be awesome. Like today, my friend, we were on a powerboat. Like I normally go sailing with my dad, but we're on a powerboat today. And it's just loud. It goes fast. It's fun, but it's just so loud. I was imagining like a superconductor and solid-state batteries in a boat. You can go just as fast for a longer period of time and not make a goddamn sound on the ocean. Just to the water. It'd be fantastic. You have to listen to the droning of the boats out there, or like the idling of engines and stuff. Man, it'd be awesome to have like solid-state batteries in boats. You can just tool about and not have to like pay for gas and have all these fuel stations. The future will be magnificent when we can have that. All right, that's it for me tonight, guys. I'll see you Friday, probably a Friday night show because I'm going to lunch with my aunt on Friday, so I'll be doing daytime. So I'll see you for an After Dark on Friday. And take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Keep your eye on what Finger's going to do by Friday at close. And things might get interesting there. Okay. Toodles. Okay, bye.